to Viewpoint, your program of personalities, politicians, and perspectives. Boy, we got a couple of great personalities this morning, and we probably have a perspective or two. Thank God we don't have to work with politicians today. Oh my, I've never seen such, well, no, we won't get started, Bill. We got 45 minutes. We have these two younger ladies on this morning. Ladies,
can I just say one thing?
Whose show is this?
Excuse me, I was just driving by and I said, well, they're having a radio program in there. I want to go in there and complain. I went to the drugstore yesterday to pick up a prescription. Mm-hmm. Okay.
They had those there.
And, well, they couldn't give it to me because I had let it lapse, and so they had to call the doctor and see, get her take on it and all. So then I had to wait while they got the regular pharmacist instead of the tech, who had to sign off on it and take some message off the computer that I was trying to do something wrong or something. I don't know. It was the biggest smell of a hess I ever saw. And it's a new rule. It's a new rule. I tell you, they keep busy down there in Springfield. I don't think they do anything that does anybody much darn good. But by golly, they're busy at whatever they're doing. And I just wanted to complain about that, Bill.
Well, you're entitled to that. You own half the show, so that's all right. That's
Thank
fine.
you.
Yes. Mr. Ash, I have discovered a new possibility for an entrepreneurial spirit. It has occurred to me, by virtue of experience, that elderly people don't concentrate well often. And case in point.
You just figured that out?
Well, it took me until yesterday.
I learned it from me.
I had a revelation, an epiphany yesterday. An old codger I know was fixing his friend a cup of coffee. And he went all through the routine, and he got the water and poured it, and he poured it, instead of in the receptacle, poured it right in on top of the coffee cup in the filter. I said, there's something wrong here. No, the fella said, something wrong here. So it occurred to me, I'm going to talk with David Gerlach about this, that this could be a choice of income. Geriatrics course on concentration.
Oh, my word, I hope to shout.
It didn't work very well, I can tell you that. All right, to business at hand. Ladies, we always try to start Viewpoint with a kudo or two, and last Saturday morning, this is kind of a personal thing. Looked up at my front door out there at the complex with the Christian village, and there's some folks out there in military hats and so forth. They came to our door, and they were calling on veterans in nursing homes and so forth. And I understand, I made an inquiry to see how this started. And a year ago, Michelle Rambo, who was commandant or commander of the VFW.
Oh, okay.
Veterans of Foreign Wars, for those who might not know what that VFW means. In any event, she came up with the idea of calling on folks who don't see many people. And as it turned out, we're fine where we are. But they encompassed it under the umbrella here, with those of us who live at the Christian Village, run that broad umbrella of calling for people who are not able to get out and about. So I really appreciate that. And I'm going to use their names because Gilbert Dobles from the VFW, Marissa Dobles, his daughter, and he was doing a good job of mentoring his high school-age daughter in public service and appreciation. So I thought that really nice. He had his daughter with him. Marcia Fernandez, an old friend of mine. She was a helper with that. Mike Downen, Marine Corps League. And Jim Harnicke, he's the commandant of the Marine Corps League here in Logan County. And I just want to give a shout out to those folks.
Oh, I think that's very
well,
nice.
It was very nice, and I really appreciated the thought and the idea. It wasn't a big deal, but it was. Mm-hmm. Especially to those who were shut-ins and not able to get about.
That's right.
That's what I thought was really something. So
we're very lucky because we managed to entertain ourselves.
Yeah,
but there are a lot of people our age who aren't having a lot of fun. This is a great program.
I thought it was just a nice thing, and they're going to do this. So, and it was Anyway, I liked it, so kudos to them. Now, you suppose we ought to get around to introducing the purpose of being here?
Well, I think so. Since there are other people in the room,
I
maybe
made
we
a trip
better
to get
quit.
here, you know. Had to get through Lawndale.
Well, first off, we have Jim Ash here. He's the one who knows how to run the board, and he's a very nice man, aren't you, Jim?
I heard that.
Yeah.
I heard that.
Yes.
They like him up in Atlanta a lot.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And then we have Kim Peterson Quinn. Mm-hmm. Right.
Yes.
Yes, and her name is pretty well known. She's very
Can't imagine
busy.
why.
Yes, yes. She's just had lots of programs going on. She's with the high school, the music department, or the theater department, or all of the above.
All of the above.
All of the above.
And choir director at Trinity Episcopal, by God.
Yes, she is.
And besides, yes, she does. Yes. And she's brought with her Kathryn Nobbe, and they have an upcoming program here pretty quickly that is going to be so exciting. I was so happy to hear about it because I have one of my great-grandkids is 9, and she is going to be enthralled.
Yes.
That's it.
And it's going to be called Peter Pan.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Oh, that is a time-honored, wonderful program. And sitting beside Kim Peterson Quinn is Kathryn Nobbe, who is Peter Pan.
Yes.
What do you
She's
do
gonna
with
do the
your
flying.
hair when you start panning?
Well, I'm cutting 3 inches of it off, and then I'm gonna pull it back in a ponytail.
Are
so
you?
that it won't be seen.
Is that kind of an emotional thing for you?
I'm okay with it.
Oh,
It doesn't
good.
bother me.
I didn't want to have
actually
visions
excited.
of
Pretty
you
well
standing
grounded.
in front of the mirror crying or something.
Oh no, I'm excited about it.
Are you a senior, dear?
Yes, I am.
And what are your plans for next year?
I'm going to attend Millikan University
In a music program?
for music education. Yes, vocal music education.
Good for you. Good for you. We just happen to know her father and her grandmother and her grandparents. If you recall, do you recall things, Mrs. Busby, very well?
Well, no, my recoller's a little on the frets.
We had
Rusty.
Dr. Todd Nobbe on here several months ago, short months now, long weeks, and we had a very nice 45 minutes with him, finding out about eye problems and so forth. And so we were it's kind of coincidental. We're very proud to have you back, young lady.
Thank you.
All right,
glad to
now,
be
Mrs.
here.
Quinn, tell us about the dates and let's take it from the
Cut to
top.
the chase? Okay.
Yeah.
So the musical will be performed May 10th, 11th, and 12th at 7 p.m. and May 13th at 2 o'clock. Matinee on the 13th. That's Mother's Day as well, so that's a great thing to take
yes.
your mother or your grandmother to. Great show to go and see on Mother's Day. Yeah, so those are our dates. This has been quite the thing for me, I will say, because just a few years ago when I was in high school, we did the show Peter Pan.
Oh, she enforced a few years ago.
Hush, Mr. Gossett. And I played the role of Captain Hook. And it was just such an amazing show that, you know, as soon as I was at Lincoln Community High School, really, I've always dreamed about directing Peter Pan. And, but of course, there's the issue of the flying.
Yes.
Yes.
And my own personal feeling is, I don't think I wanted to do that show unless we could fly them. And that's expensive. That's
I
a
bet.
lot of money.
Yeah.
So we started kind of thinking about Peter Pan maybe 4 years ago or so. But this year just felt like, let's try and do this. This is the year to do it. So at the beginning of the school year, I reached out to LCHS alums that had been through the music and theater program and asked if they would be willing to participate in a benefit alumni concert. And so back in late September, maybe, or early October,
Early October. I think.
we got these folks together, and we had about 20 alums come back.
Oh, how fun.
Oh, it was
It was
awesome.
great.
It was so great. Yeah, it was a great concert. And they all performed solos, and then at the end of the concert, they sang with the choir. We did a couple of really fun numbers with the choir, with the current choir members, and we raised about $2,000 at that event.
That's
Kind of
pretty
amazing.
formidable. Yeah, that is.
And then since then, we've Grau Chevrolet has stepped up, and we did a test drive fundraiser with them. We raised another chunk of money for our fly rigging, and we've had community, just private donors. So I mean, it's been a real community effort, and I'm so grateful to Lincoln for helping us make this dream come true.
Oh, that is so neat.
Just
Isn't
a,
it?
Just a quick aside, other firms do this, but Chris Grau always steps to the plate.
Yes, he does.
When things are needed like that, so an electric
Absolutely.
kudo to him.
Yes.
How big a cast is this, Mrs. Quinn?
Well, we have about 25 high schoolers, and then we have about 30 little ones in it. So
Where do you get them? Out of the grade school somewhere. Yeah.
Went to Kroger and picked up a few. No, we
Call a daycare and say, send a boatload.
right. We reached out to the elementary schools and the music teachers. Sarah Stuckey, who's at District 27, and just the area elementary schools, and just publicity, Facebook, whatever. And we had auditions a few weeks ago, and I was thinking, we'll probably get maybe 15 or 20 kids. Well, we had 30 kids.
Really?
And I want them all. So
Boy.
they are adorable. So they're K through 2, kindergarten through second graders, and we have about 30 little ones. So 10 little Indians, 10 little Lost Boys, and 10 little Pirates. And they're pretty stinking cute.
Oh, how's that going for you? I think back to having kids around that age and being grateful they were only one at a time.
Well, you have help. You have help. For sure, you've got, I say kid wranglers.
Were they
need
on
kid
horses
wranglers.
with lassos?
Yeah, right.
Oh, boy.
I've kind of forgotten the storyline on Peter Pan. Really, it's been so long. That there's, Kathryn, can you kind of fill us in there just a little bit?
Sure. It takes place in London, I believe. And there's this family of kids. They have Wendy, John, Michael. And then Peter Pan comes in. He offers to take them to Neverland, and they get to get away from having to grow up and go on a little adventure with him back in Neverland. And they get to have... then they get to clash with Captain Hook, and it's a lot of fun. They play with that, and then they eventually come back to their house, and then they grow up.
I will say it's different than the cartoon.
It is.
Yeah.
The musical is a little bit different from the cartoon. I mean, same characters, but much more in-depth storyline and just characters. Gives you more information about each of the main characters. So there's definitely some different twists in the musical than in the cartoon.
Well, if you've got 30 little people, and then you add the students, how big is your cast, for crying out loud?
So it's about 55.
That's a big group.
It's a big group.
55.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of logistics.
Yes.
There's a lot of logistics in
A little
handling
over
that.
20 of us.
Okay, that would have been really embarrassing. But anyway, I'm sorry. What were you
That
saying?
is so amazing.
Yeah.
And how do you keep all the balls in the air or the kids in the air?
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. There are so many, I call it spinning plates. And Kathryn, who's going to major in this and someday direct a musical of her own, I mean, on any given day, any teacher is spinning, I'd say, probably 5 plates in the air. But during the musical, I'm spinning about 15.
Yeah.
It's absolutely, that's a ton. There's so many little details and, and keeping, focusing all that energy, all the little energy and all the
Yes.
adolescent energy.
Yes.
It's not easy. But you know what? It's a great bunch of kids. This year, I'm telling you, every one of our cast members, they're just wonderful to work with. They're fun, they're smart, they're talented, they're dedicated. And so that makes it so much easier.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Well, and they're all in this together and voluntarily.
Oh, yeah.
And loving it. It would make it fun. Kathryn, you got to think ahead, kiddo. If I were you, I'd lock her in right now to borrowing her flying equipment when the time comes that you decide to do Peter Pan down the road here somewhere.
They'll have new and better
How does it
equipment by
feel
then.
to fly? I've flown in an airplane, but never without one.
It's really cool. We got to start the flying rehearsals yesterday. Me, and then Wendy, Michael, John, and then Jane, we all got to take turns and fly across the stage back and forth and kind of get used to that with our harness. It's really cool when you just go up in the air for the first time. It's a really cool feeling, but it's a lot of fun.
Were you frightened at all?
Oh, no.
No. You were
was
up
fun.
for it.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
She's brave.
All right.
Courageous.
I think of being in your place, and I think if I walked out there and Ms. Peterson Quinn asked me if I'd like to fly, tell her.
Well, that was on our audition sheet, too. Like, we asked them.
Oh, they knew it was coming then.
Right, for sure. Are you okay with heights? Are you okay with flying? Are you okay with cutting your hair? I mean, those are all like very particular questions for Peter Pan, auditions this year. So
Which seemed to be the biggest conundrum for the kids, cutting their hair or flying.
there were no conundrums. They were all game. They were all in. Yeah.
Good.
Yes.
Good.
I'm really excited for my role, and I was ready to do anything because I'm so excited to play Peter Pan. It's a really iconic and cool role.
We're
she's
excited, too.
fantastic.
We're
She's
excited
amazing.
here at WLCN. We're excited to bring you some sponsors who make this program responsible. So if Mr. Ash can leave the keyboard for a minute and move Mabel, we'll be fine. That's right, back live with the students here at WLCN. Program is Viewpoint, which appears each Wednesday morning, 8:15 to 9. This is Busby and the old fella here. Work real hard to bring interesting guests from each week. Today we've done an exceptional job, bring 2 very nice, interesting young ladies, a very young lady, and then somebody who's just a little older, but not much. By the way, Mrs. Quinn,
Yes, sir.
I will make a comment on the air that this young lady has a magnificent voice. God blessed her richly with a magnificent voice, and she's also a part of a musical family. Husband Tom is very involved with theater and music and so forth, and is a professor at Illinois Wesleyan University. And so we have a considerable background. It's just like they didn't come from Burtonville, or now
You told me everybody famous comes from Burtonville.
Oh, I did. I guess that took care of it when I did. Tell us about the rehearsal schedule, Mrs. Quinn. This is pretty involved, and particularly the logistics of gathering together 50-some people.
Right. Yeah. Well, I always say, okay, well, I'll speak to the rehearsal schedule first. So we auditioned back in March. And, I would say generally speaking, we have about, let's see, well, 6, 9, about 15 hours of rehearsal a week. Of course, we add to that the flying rehearsals. We just started those yesterday. So, but it just takes a village to put on a show. It involves so many people volunteering their time. Of course, the students and anybody involved in the production on stage, of course, is coming to rehearsals, and that's a lot of time and commitment. The parents that are bringing them to rehearsals and taking them from. The people that build the set, the people that help with costumes, the people that help with the choreography, our production staff. Maybe I'll mention them right now because it's an amazing team. So Mr. Nigel Range, the band director at the high school, directs the orchestra pit. Carrie Wilmert is our choreographer. Let's see. Who else do we have? Ryan Swar helps with our sound. Our set builders this year were Tom Steiner and Justin Cheger and Chris Tanner. Tim Searby was our vocal guy.
Well, he's kind of a nice man.
We like to keep him around. He's
Reasonably
okay.
talented, so-
Reasonably talented, right.
Kathryn, are you very good friends with the young man, I presume, who operates the flying equipment?
You want to stay on his good side.
I was just suggesting you want to make sure you stick tight to him.
Yeah.
You're putting yourself at his risk.
Well, I just got to meet them yesterday, and they're both very nice. They're very considerate and asking questions. They're very nice and good to work with.
You mentioned that it takes a village to do this, and you mentioned especially the staff and the administration and the board at the high school. Well, they would certainly have to have a part because they'd have to okay the flying, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, that's very important to mention the help. But more than that, it's an endorsement of your abilities and so forth, and what you want to do, to have the high school administration, the Board of Education, be behind this.
And they've been great.
Yeah.
And of course, they wanted to make sure all their I's were dotted, T's were crossed in terms of safety for the students.
Yeah.
The company that we're using, our fly company, is called Vertigo. They've been around for 20 plus years.
It's a good name for them.
I know, isn't that the funniest? I thought so too. That's a funny name.
No, you mentioned something that you just didn't rent this equipment, the flying equipment, which we speak. People come with that.
Yes.
Who are
and they train.
versed in how to do this.
Right.
So it isn't a high school senior who's her best friend.
No.
And that's a part of the cost.
Oh, yeah.
And this is why it makes the cost so significant.
Yes.
Is you have to have professionals operate this particular type of equipment.
Well, they train. So I have, again, 10 amazing volunteers who are actually operating the fly equipment. So they come and they train those 10, and then they leave. And the 10 community people actually stay through the rehearsal process and the performances.
Which goes back to my original point. You better bake a pie for these kids and make sure that they're on your team.
That's right.
Yeah, Kathryn, you want to be sure that the guy who's helping you fly isn't some fellow you've just dumped.
I just want to say that Peter Pan and John are going to prom together.
Oh!
Keep kind of a little interesting twist there.
Well, tell us a bit about the mechanics of this flying. Obviously, we've got all this equipment up ahead with the wires and so forth. Mechanically, how does that work? Either one of you ladies.
Well, they pull me up in ropes. They have several ropes to pull me on. There's one to pull me up, and then there's another rope to swing me back and forth across the stage.
So Peter Pan operates on a track. And the others, Wendy, Michael, John, are on a pendulum system.
Okay.
And they can do more of, what do I want to say? More up and back and forth. I don't know, but all back and forth. Yeah. But the track only goes stage right, stage left. So Peter Pan can really only go up and stage right and left.
Okay.
But Wendy, Michael, and John can actually move forward and back. Does that make sense?
648-5510. One of our two listeners out there might have a question or two for Kathryn or Kim Peterson Quinn. Kim has been. How long have you been with us here, dear? At LCHS?
This is my 24th year.
Oh my!
I know. Boy, it flies.
You know,
Time flies.
in the early days of the Lincoln Community Theater, I was privileged to appear on stage with Mrs. Quinn.
That's true.
And that's the only second time I tried the boards there for LCT in those long ago years. But that's where I first became acquainted with the Quinns. And by the way, they have two bright young kids who are off in school now. So if anybody wants to send them an extra $5 or so,
Yeah, we'll take it.
648-5510. Somebody might have a question, seriously, of Mrs. Quinn, for Mrs. Quinn and Miss Nobbe.
You mentioned that before the tryouts, there was a printout that was given to them that, for instance, Kathryn would have to have no quarrel with cutting her hair a bit and flying and so on and so forth. Would there not be some kind of limits on size? Now, Kathryn's a little bitty girl, and I, for instance, am a big-boned Norwegian.
I didn't say that.
It would be a lot different flying me than it would Kathryn, you know.
Bet on that.
Don't you know?
So the people that my fly crew,
Yes.
the people that are flying our actors, actually working the equipment, the only requirement that they said that they gave me was that those people, not the actors, but those people have to be able to pick up and hold about 50 pounds. So it's not, most of the rigging, it's not a one-to-one thing. It's not like you're actually lifting the whole weight of the person. There's one of the characters that is like that, but all the rest are, it's a pulley system, so it isn't like you're actually lifting the full weight of the person.
It's called compound ratio, Judith.
How'd you remember that word? You can't even remember my name. You're just a miracle, Bill.
It just flew in like Peter Pan.
Goodness sakes.
Yes. So that was the only, physical requirement of the people that were actually flying. They all, So no, there was no weight limit or stipulation in terms of actually being able to fly any of the characters.
How about all the people who are in your cast, maybe with the exception of the 50 or 30 little people, they just kind of do what their mom tells them, unless they decide they don't want to do what their mom tells them, of course. But how about the high school kids? Are they excited about this?
Oh yeah, we're all excited. It's a great privilege for us to be able to have an opportunity to do this, for some of us to get to fly and just to be in Peter Pan and to do a musical that our director got to do when she was in high school. It's such an honor, and we're all so excited. And the cast is just great. They're all doing such a great job. We have great energy, and we are thrilled to be able to perform.
Shout out to the other, like the main characters.
Yeah, so Jack Grau plays Captain Hook. He's a junior. He is fantastic. And then we have John.
Did he tell you to say that?
He's going to pay her later.
Then we have John, played by Austin Garrett. He's also a junior. He's one of Wendy's siblings. Then we have Michael, who's the youngest sibling, played by Jordan Palmer. And then Wendy, played by Laura Centers. We also have Blythe Niece. She plays Tiger Lily.
Okay.
And the Indians, they do a lot of the dancing, mostly.
Now, the Indians are all they're literally little Indians, right?
We have both.
Or you have big ones, too.
So we've got big Indians, little Indians, big Lost Boys, little Lost Boys, big pirates, little pirates.
Okay, good.
We've got both.
Good.
Yeah.
We also have Maya Roberts playing Smee. She is awesome too. The pirates are really cool. They also get to play really cool iconic roles. It's a great cast overall. We have a lot of great people playing.
You know, it's going to kind of leave a hole in your life when the 13th rolls around next month, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm really excited though. It'll be sad when it's over, but
Yeah,
I'm
the tears
enjoying
have
it.
already started flowing. I'm here to tell you.
And here I remind her again, probably make her sad for the whole day, poor kid.
Right.
I think it's just wonderful for you. In the first place, it makes me green-eyed with envy that you can sing and fly and walk and chew gum at the same time. I think it's just wonderful. But more power to you. And now you're going to go
Thank
on
you.
and give this same gift to others as the years roll by. Bless your heart.
Thank you. I've had a great teacher.
Yeah, this speaks to
I'll pay her later. You're going to get a lot of money later, Kathryn.
one of the flags I always carry for in elementary and secondary education, the extracurriculars. Now, everybody with a lick of common sense knows that football and basketball are prominent, and fine, that's wonderful. We want those folks out there, and because they get the ink, so to speak. The fine arts activities, because they're not spectator sports per se, unless we put on a special program like Peter Pan and the other musicals and plays that we do out there, they don't get the ink. So this speaks to the. I've always said, and I think I'm right about this. The greatest football player, and they're nice. Most of them are pretty doggone nice folks. But it's not going to stand them in good stead once they get off the field and go into the world of commerce and so forth. Youngsters who participate in this type of extracurricular activity in the fine arts, they take with them skills that they can move on in later life. So kudos to Kim and all the others out there who are at LCHS who are involved in mentoring our youngsters in the various other fine arts activities, band, glee club, whatever.
Yes. Yeah. I
Yeah,
agree.
look at Jim here. He used to play professional football, and now he can't do that anymore. No, so he walks his dogs. You know.
But everybody should get out there and support the plays and musicals and so forth. And as it moved later into adult life, it becomes part of that Lincoln area musical system. Lambs would do a wonderful job for us in the community, and it just makes us happy to be able to share their talents. And they work real hard, choral and instrumental, to put on their concerts. So, and they didn't just start after school. They started way back when they started the various early, where they sat there and ta-ta-ta on the horn to try to get the right notes.
Yeah, and I always say that the arts, well, it enriches our lives, makes us more human. And, that's why I do what I do. I just want to share the beauty of that with as many people as I can, and then someday you get to do that. That's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool thing to do with your life.
Kathryn, is she the reason that you've decided to follow this road? That you've decided to go on and be a teacher and share this with other kids?
Oh yeah, she's definitely influenced me. I've always known that I wanted to do music. I've loved to sing and to play piano ever since I was little. So I knew I wanted to do something with music. But PQ has just she's had a great influence on me and so many other people throughout the community.
She has a wonderful vocal teacher, private teacher,
Yes.
Stephanie Meir.
Stephanie Meir.
Okay.
And she's been
my
very
vocal
influential,
teacher.
I would say.
Yes, she is well.
We have a caller, sir?
Yeah.
Use the headset so you can hear the
Okay.
caller, please. Go right ahead. Go right ahead, caller.
I was just wondering how difficult
Hello?
it is. Hello?
Yes, go right ahead, please.
I was just wondering how difficult it is to sing while you're flying.
Oh, your
Good
question to Kathryn is how are you going to sing while you're going through the atmosphere up there?
Well, she hasn't done it yet.
I have not.
But it's gonna be tough.
Yeah.
Now, how about miking? Will she be mic'd up there in the air?
Yeah, we have a wireless mic system. So, thank you. So yeah, she will be mic'd. But I was thinking that yesterday as I was watching them, and I was asking, is it hurting at all when you're up there? I mean, is it tight? And Kathryn said yes, it kind of does hurt a little bit. So that's going to be a little. We're going to have to figure that out. There's several things we're going
to. Do you have any other questions, caller? No, she's hung up. She got her answer. She got her answer. So thank you very much, caller. Thank you. The logistics of flying. Were you a little bit had a little fear and trepidation about strapping on that equipment to start with?
No, I wasn't nervous at all. I was very excited.
They take baby steps, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The first thing they did was they just lifted them. And then maybe, and they just kind of hung there in the air, and then the next thing they did was they would like have maybe up and down, was it?
They had us go up and down. They got us a chance to be able to like adjust and be able to feel the harness and know how it feels a little bit first. And once we got to get used to it, then they let us go back and forth on the track throughout the stage, and we got to feel what it was like, maybe with the different, how fast we could go.
And they were kind of moving.
Yeah,
they were moving
went
fast.
pretty fast.
Yeah. But one of the other things too was that, which I never thought about, was how do you keep from not spinning around?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Like, how do you not keep your face forward at the audience? Because that's hard to do.
It's difficult.
Yeah, we're gonna
And is that your job, to keep your face forward?
Yeah.
You have control of that?
Well,
we're
Because it'd
working
be
on
just
gaining control.
if you were singing to the back of the stage.
right. Yeah. That's not easy. That's going to be tough to figure that out.
I'm sure there are so many things like that that I wouldn't think of.
You don't think about it, yeah.
No.
That's true.
You got to have your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
You don't
right.
just go out there and say, I guess I'll fly, huh?
I guess not.
Well, and they've probably helped lots of kids through the fear of flying without benefit of airplane,
Right.
So they know what to do to make you feel comfortable and secure.
Yes, definitely.
So at one point in time, you just had an epiphany and said, "Let's try Peter Pan." This is something that's been in the back of your mind for a long time.
Long time. Yeah. So, when I approached this with our principal and superintendent, they were both like, okay. A definite maybe, I think when we hired, or when we found Vertigo, that was a big plus, because it's just such a reputable company, and they've never had any,
Where are they based?
no injuries beyond like scraped knees and bruises,
right.
So,
well, geographically, where are Vertigo based? Where are their headquarters?
DeKalb, Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
But they go everywhere. I mean, they're all over the country. And they do, multiple shows, and if there's flying in your show, and for sure, if you're in Illinois, Vertigo is your company.
I'll be
But
darned.
really, just really all over the country. There's only a handful of companies that really do it, and Vertigo is really
in a
one
way,
of the
it's
best, if
somewhat
not the
like
best.
Jane Ball Costumes down here at Charleston. I guess she has costumes go out everywhere.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah,
That's
she's
an
great.
interesting part of theater that nobody thinks,
No.
kind of on the sidelines, that nobody even thinks about. But
Well, and I was
absolutely.
asking the Vertigo guys, like, how did you find this company? How did you decide to go into this? And that was sort of an
right.
interesting story, too, One of the fellas was a theater major, and his roommate got this job working with this company, and then he just came on board, and he loves it. He just says, I love this job. And I'm sure it's because, watching the kids yesterday go up in the air, it is thrilling. It's just like, my husband was standing next to me, and he said, Kim, your kids are flying. You got them flying, it's just so fun to watch the thrill on their face, and the audience too. The first,
Yes.
everybody starts flying in the song I'm Flying, the audience just giggles because
Oh,
it's
sure.
just so fun to watch that, even though of course they're on a wire and everything. It doesn't matter. It's that suspension of disbelief, and everybody just loves it,
Well,
Now, you be doing this at the high school, I assume.
Right.
What's that, 1,111 seats in there, is that right?
Yes.
pretty close.
Yeah, I would say maybe about 1,000.
I remember that from somewhere.
Well,
Why, I don't know.
you're pretty good at remembering.
Well, give
most
us
of the
the
time.
nuts and bolts. Are you having a pre-sale of tickets at all?
No, we really don't have any system set up to do pre-show.
Are there reserved seats, or it's just you all come, buy a ticket, come in?
Yeah, and tickets are $10 for adults, $8
enough.
for children, students, and senior citizens. Boy, I would sure love to sell out. We've never gotten anywhere close in my years here.
I
but
can't help but think you might.
I would love it if we could do that.
Well, this is a cut above My Fair Lady, which is one of my all-time favorite musicals, or The Sound of Music, which is another one. This it's just different.
It's magical.
Oh, yeah. And this will be May 10, 11, 12, and 13. And the 13th is at 2.
Yes.
And the 10th, 11th, and 12th is at
7.
7 at LCHS District 404, Lincoln, America. And you all come, huh?
Or as I call it, Abesville.
Abesville. Boy, this is exciting. I can
Yes.
hardly wait.
Please come on out and see the show.
Oh, I thoroughly intend to.
Yeah, well, yes, we'll have to make a production out of that. Then I'll take you to Old Joe's afterwards.
My favorite place.
Kathryn, as we sum up here, let's have a little your take on your experiences in working with Mrs. Quinn and your fellow cast members. This is a fun thing. It's a lot of work.
Yes.
We need to recognize that. This just doesn't happen. They don't come on stage. It's a lot of work, a lot of concentration. Are you having any fun?
Oh yeah, I have fun every day. I look forward to getting to do all the different productions that we do every year. In the beginning, we get to do madrigals, which is like a medieval themed kind of
Dinner theater.
dinner theater. Yes, that's really fun. We also do several concerts throughout the year. We have a winter concert. We also have the spring concert, which we just did on Monday. We get to go to several of the junior high schools and perform for the kids to be able to get them a chance to see what our program is like, and then of course the spring musical. And all of it's a lot of work that we do, but every day I enjoy doing it because it's what I love to do, and I get to do it with our amazing director and an amazing group of students.
Kathryn Nobbe
experience.
and Kim Quinn, we really appreciate you coming up and spending some time with us this morning. The 45
Thank
minutes
you.
goes in a hurry. We always try to come up with a quote that's somewhat analogous, as I always say, ad nauseum. But in any event, this isn't particularly pertinent to today's conversation, but insofar as the performing arts is concerned, it has some pertinence, certainly. And the first sentence is about as true as you can make it. The world's a complicated place, and there's a lot of division. Isn't that true today, unfortunately? Between people, the performing arts tend to unify people in a way nothing else can do. And I think there's some truth to that.
Amen.
Yes.
Thank you very much, ladies.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.